Hello, gamers. This is Killsbury3, and I'd like to welcome you all to the first of probably a very long series of Redstone tutorials. I asked you guys on the page what you guys would want from me in terms of gameplay content. Minecraft happens to be my specialty. I know more about this game than anyone I've met. So I found out that a lot of you wanted to use Redstone, weren't really sure if it had any practical uses in game, whether in survival or in creative. You knew it had uses, you weren't sure how you could use it yourself. You've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube, I'm sure. There's a lot of really nice videos of people with really complex machines doing really amazing things, but none of those are things that you're ever going to really use in game yourself, probably. So this is a series of Redstone tutorials for usually the more basic things that you do with Redstone. For the first tutorial that I wanted to do, I decided that I would do my favorite redstone machine because it's simple and it's extremely useful, and most importantly, it's relatively easy to build in survival. Because once you have maybe, I think, about 64 redstone, you get one stack of redstone, you can build this machine, and it is a self-repairing bridge. So just to explain it, I'm going to build one in a little bit, but to explain it, you have a basic clock circuit here. If any of you have any questions about circuitry, then I'm going to make another video full of redstone circuits, really basic logic gates, things like that. But this is a pretty self-explanatory circuit. It's a clock. These are all redstone repeaters, uh, and basically what a repeater does is it just repeats the signal. Redstone, if you start a redstone signal and you have just regular redstone wire running from it, that signal will eventually run out. So you need a repeater to keep it going. Another feature of repeaters is that you can delay a redstone output. See how it's lingering on each repeater block for 4 ticks is what it's doing. I have them each set to 4 ticks. That's the maximum setting. Since I put them all in the maximum setting, it releases a redstone pulse out of it every couple seconds. That then pushes a piston back here, and all these pistons over here, and we have lava and water, standard cobblestone generator. You've probably used it. If you haven't, then you know how moving lava and moving water, when they meet, turn into cobblestone or still water. I have 2 source blocks up here. They feed down there, right back there, and you heard that little hiss. That was this piston pushing it out, and another one being formed. Now, the practical upshot of all of this, you have these 3 other pistons they activate after the one on the left, these 3 on the right, so that it pushes out and then these push forward, which means the bridge fixes itself. I have it on a pretty slow circuit. You can make it fix itself faster, but you can recover from some pretty serious damage. And this is why it's so useful in survival, because everyone hates it when a creeper comes up. And let's say you have a castle, and you want to keep the castle safe from monsters. You make a bridge. It's easy to make, and this way, if you wanted to, it's really easy to just turn off the circuit, so that when the bridge is destroyed, like so, if a creeper blew it up, it can repair itself. And it's really simple, and I'm going to build one for you in a little bit, but just to see how that works. And oh, so yeah, I'm going to now build it. What you need to make this is you're going to need regular pistons, which are not terribly difficult to get as long as you have redstone in survival. You need redstone repeaters, redstone, classic redstone you use for wire. You don't actually need a redstone torch, but I use it to start the signal. You can also use a button connected to a block if you want. Any kind of building block. Let's make it mossy cobblestone because I like the look of it. You need a lava bucket of lava, bucket of water, or just any way to get. You can get them separately. It doesn't really matter. And you need 1 obsidian block. Actually, you don't necessarily need it, but I'll get to why it's important for. See, the bridge has fixed itself. I'll get to why that's important in a little bit. Be right there. You don't actually need stairs. I'm raising the bridges here, but presumably it'll be off the edge of a cliff if you need to make a bridge or over a ravine, so yours won't need to be raised. So, the first thing that you need to do is have a platform that it's going to be built on, which is pretty self-explanatory. You just need something to build the pistons off of. Pistons will be facing toward you wherever you place them. So if I were to jump up here and place a piston down, the piston's going to be facing up. If I'm over here, the piston's going to be facing up. So if I do it from the side, so you need to be able to do it from the side somehow. It doesn't really matter how you get it to be like that, as long as it's facing toward the direction you're going to want your bridge to go. So yeah, this is just the very basic framework. You can put more blocks down here if you want, just to be safe when the bridge, because when the bridge is repairing itself, that is the area that is compromised the most. It's right there, because if you step in there, you can be pushed off of the platform. So, if you want to avoid that, then put blocks down there to catch you in the event that you fall. And this is where you're going to want to put your generator. It's right over on this side. And it is a exceedingly simple machine. As I said, you just need a regular piston there. And here's your cobblestone generator. And what you need to do, you can make it only 2 blocks high if you are constrained for size. I'm not, obviously. I'm in a super flat world. And I prefer making it 3 blocks tall. And the reason for that is if a creeper does explode nearby and you have your sources right next to all of your redstone, the sources could be destroyed as well, which is bad. And I can honestly I can leave that mossy cobblestone block there. It doesn't really matter. Just put 1 lava, 1 water. Actually, you probably should have that plugged up like that. And I'm going to not put down this obsidian block at first, just so that you have a good idea of why it's so necessary when I turn on the circuit. Now for the actual circuitry itself, all you need to do is line this up so that you have a repeater going into the back of each piston. And the reason for this is if you want to individually control each piston, it also makes it so that there's some glitches that happen whenever you try to put redstone directly into the back of a piston, especially when there's 3 lined up like this. If I tried to do that, none of them would be facing into the piston. I would do that and none of them would activate. Whereas, if I have redstone repeaters facing into the back of them, that ensures that direction is going to be facing into the piston, and it ensures that the current will indeed go there. Here, this is what I like to do in this port. It isn't necessary, but just for safety's sake, you put 2 repeaters here, and this is where the input from the clock is going to be, in between those 2 repeaters. You can set this up differently if you want. It doesn't really matter. The layout does not matter. If you want to put it inside a mountain, for instance, the layout might be a little bit different. The timing is really what's important, not necessarily the layout. I'm going to make it so that... Okay, and then this is where you need to put the clock circuit. So all you need for this is, if you want to use the same clock that I have been using, you just need a 4x4 square. You don't need to fill in the middle. I'm going to just because I can. And you just need to take redstone repeaters and make them go around. And you can't repeaters obviously can't be used on corners. There's the input is that way, the output is the other way, the other direction. They're completely linear. That's why I can put those next to each other, and the current does not pass from one to the other next to each other. There's an arrow there to tell you where the input and output is. So you need to connect regular redstone wire on the corners. And then if I were to use this clock like this, then, and this is how I like to start it, you can use a button, but that makes the signal too long for my taste. If I were to use it like this, See how fast that clock signal is? And that would just not work out very well. It would make the pistons work too fast for them to actually push anything. It would be really, it would take a while. So what I like to do instead is I just right click on the blocks. You can do this in survival, by the way. I know I'm in creative, but you can do it in survival. Right click on them each 3 times. And what that does, and it sets the repeaters. You can see the little redstone torches and them moving. It sets the repeaters to the maximum duration, which means that it's only going to send an output every couple seconds. Hear that? Okay, now this is the important bit. This is what's really important about your timing. Now that you have the clock circuit set up, you can make it as fast as you want. It will work no matter what, no matter how fast the input is. You can even do it with a rapid pulsar, which I will explain in a later video. But for our purposes, we're going to be using just this slow clock. And you need to make sure that this piston is going off at least, I'd say, about 5 ticks, maybe 4. Yeah, about 3 or 4 ticks before these 3 pistons. And the reason for that is if you have these pistons going off beforehand, they're going to block that piston. And then that cobblestone block will not be able to push out because pistons cannot push on moving blocks or blocks that take up more than one space. They can't push doors because they'll break the door, and if they're used directly, doors are another way to stop it. If they're used indirectly, then it just won't move. If they're used directly against another piston, it just won't move. You saw that a little while ago. That's another reason these repeaters are important, is so that you can set them on a delay. This one you just leave alone. You do not set that piston on a delay. These ones you do have to. And I like to set this one on a delay as well, just because I like having a pretty sizable delay. All I have to do is connect that to the clock. If I make the delay long enough, so what you're watching now is that's the old mossy cobblestone block. I can go ahead and break that, and it's going to fill in one more slot. The maximum distance that redstone can push a block is 16 blocks. So this bridge, starting from this point right here, is 16 blocks long. Okay? So if you want to make it 16 blocks long, you don't have to place a stopper on the end of it. If you do, that's where the obsidian comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and let this fill in while I explain to you some of the properties of pistons. Pistons are one of very few ways, other than a constantly extended piston block, I guess, would also work if you wanted to use that, but that's not recommended. Obsidian is really the safest, because that way, if something blows up the surrounding area, like a creeper, for instance, you still have your stopper there, and you still have a framework which you can build the rest of the bridge off of. It's just all around a better idea to use obsidian, if you can get a hold of it in a survival game, or in creative you can always get a hold of it. And the reason for this is if you don't use obsidian, watch right here carefully. Now that the bridge is being completed, that block. Nothing's going to happen here because it's reached the max length, but that is not the max length. So what it's going to do now is it's just going to keep pushing out that way. Basically indefinitely. And what that does is obviously it makes your stairs very difficult to climb. But it's annoying to deal with. You probably don't want to have, if you want to make a 16 by 16 square, then by all means, go ahead and do this, but you honestly probably don't. Most people don't want something, you would have to line this entire thing with pistons. You can in fact make an entire self-regenerating floor that is a chunk wide. A chunk is 16 by 16 blocks. In order to prevent this from happening, put an obsidian block there. Now, even though there's only 5 spaces that it has to push, it's not pushing anymore, and I can rip this bridge to shreds, and it'll get to work repairing it immediately. So, that is the self-repairing bridge in Minecraft. Very easy to build in survival, and let me know in the comments section if there's any other simple machines that you've heard of that you want a tutorial on. Even if they're complicated, I honestly probably know how to build them, so anything like that. The next video is probably going to be an explanation of the more complex circuits, but I thought a video like this on how to use redstone in a practical way would be a good way to kind of start us off for this redstone series. Comments or questions? If you liked the video, please leave a rating. And go like Gamers Creed. A link to it if you're coming here from YouTube and not from the webpage or from the Facebook page rather, is in the description. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.